Hi guys, it's Friday. Oh goodness, you guys, it's been a day. It's been a day, and it is only 1 o'clock, and it has already been a day. I am fighting a headache like nobody's business, and I have so much to do. But that's all right. That's all right because the bright spot of my day is that I get to spend it with you guys, right? Right? How we doing out there? It's only three of you here so far. Oh no, a little bit more than three. Hi guys. Hi Ruth. Hi Stacia. Hey Katie. Oh, it's going, Stacia. It's going. I got a headache. I got a huge mess. I got a lot of stuff to do. And I'm telling you, like the mess in here sometimes, and I know you guys kind of feel this way too. I mean, I would imagine that you feel this way. I don't know for sure, but I feel like sometimes the mess is so overwhelming that I can't concentrate on the other things, right? Drives me crazy because it's like I have all of these things scattered around, and at like first glance everything looks nice and neat, and what you guys can see definitely looks neat, but what the camera doesn't show you is the hot mess of things that I have. Like for example, we're just chatting by the way. You guys know how I do. But let me just show you, okay? Like, this is just an example of, like, how is anybody supposed to find anything? You know what I mean? Like, I keep this right here next to me, and this is just like I need this in the near future, so I'm just going to toss it in there, right? And then after 3 weeks of just tossing things in there, it's like I've completely lost everything that I needed. So I don't know. I don't know. Your emojis are coming up. I see them. I see them. Maybe you don't see them, but I definitely see them. Ginger says, put peppermint oil behind the ears and on the temples. I've got some. I'm definitely going to have to do that. I've taken 3 different kinds of medicine since like 6 this morning, and nothing seems to be touching it. Ugh, I hate it. I hate it. Particularly when I have lives, because I have these bright lights in my face, which doesn't really help things, but it's all right. I will power through. I appreciate that though, for sure. So speaking of the lights, I have changed the lights. Can you tell? Can you see a difference in the lights? So I don't know if it's going to make much of a difference on the table, which is actually what the goal was, but it is making me a little bit brighter, and there is a little bit of a glare. You can see on my hand there's a little bit of a glare, so it may take me some time to get the lights adjusted, and the microphone. So how is the microphone? Give me a thumbs up if the microphone is doing okay too, because it's brand new. This is the first time that I have used it. Sounds like interference, maybe your light. Interference on the microphone that could be causing. Oh, that's not good at all. I paid a lot of money for this microphone. I sincerely hope that it is not the microphone, because I really don't want to have to send it back. Like, it was not cheap. This weekend is bead room cleanup for me. Me too. Me too. That's what my plan is. So I've got a live here with you guys. We're going to do a really fun project. There was supposed to be a second live today over on the Jesse James Beads Destination North Pole unboxing. That is actually going to be moved back. That's going to be moved to next week at some point, so just stay tuned for that. Sarah has some family things that are going on that she needs to attend to, so that is not going to happen today, which is fine. That's okay. Family always comes first. So we're going to move that to next week at some point, so just stay tuned for all of that. And then I do have another live this afternoon on Jewel Loom. It will be there. There is a little buzz sound. Oh, you guys. The Jewel Loom live will be at 4 o'clock this afternoon. That's Eastern time. I'm worried now about the microphone. Okay, hold on. Out and out static buzz. Oh, no. But Marianne says she's not getting a buzzing noise. So some people are getting the static buzz noise and other people are not. Ginger says mic is fine. Oh, you guys. It's not one thing, it's a million. So speaking of, Anita says the sound is great. Okay. So speaking of, yesterday in the middle of my Facebook Live with Jesse James Beads, I lost internet connection, and it wasn't just me, it was the entire house. We'll see, my kids, well, my 2 younger kids are doing online schooling, and so not only did I lose Facebook Live, but Yeah, the kids lost their school connection as well. It was a mess, an absolute mess. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that we get internet connection for the entire day today. Julie says she barely hears it. It's not offensive. Oh, some of you are getting a buzz and some of you are not. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm so sorry. I wish I could fix all the things that are wrong today. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you. It's just been a day, but I'm so glad that I get to be with you guys. And the buzz may be a light. Well, but I guess it could be interference, right? Because I don't hear like an amp turned on. Yes, buzz sound. Okay, let's try something real quick then. Do you still hear it? The buzz is minimal. Maybe it'll go away. So I turned off. Sounds and lights are good. I hate to have to turn these lights out. So I turned the lights out, and of course we're darker. How does it, do you guys still see? Do you still see? Obviously you still see me. What about the buzz? I'll give it a second because you guys are on just a little bit of a delay. So I'll wait to see. Kathy says yup. Yup what, Kathy? Sylvia says yes. Yes what? Yes, there's still a buzz. If there's still a buzz, then it's not the lights. It's buzzing for the bracelet. I know this bracelet project, you guys. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay, so it's not the lights. It's just the microphone. What a bummer. All right. Well, you know what? We'll fix it. Picking up other sounds around you. I am telling you what. Okay, okay, first of all, can we make it through with this microphone on? If not, if it's going to drive you guys crazy, I'll grab the other microphone that I had and I'll send this one back. Wanda says buzz gone. Rosanna says still hear it. Oh gosh. I think I'll just keep going. There are much worse things than a buzz. Okay. We'll just keep going and I'll play around with it a little bit, you guys. I'm sorry. Full sentences. Oh gosh. Still hearing the buzzing. I'm so sorry. Okay, well, we're just going to have to power through. Oh gosh. Yes, we can. Okay. We're just going to keep going, and I'm sorry about the buzz. I'm going to just send this one back because I paid a lot of money for it. Yeah, I'll keep going. So anyway, let's just pretend like we don't have a buzzing in our ears, and let's there isn't a balance. That's the thing. There's absolutely nothing that I can do. It's just a cord that plugs in. So there are no settings. For an expensive microphone, you would think that there would be, but okay. Let me regroup a second. Let's get zen, shall we? I'm telling you, this day. Shoo. Okay, let's take it to a happy place because this project is awesome. And I very rarely say that about my own projects, right? I'm just not one of those people who likes to toot my own horn. But I gotta tell ya, I really, really love this bracelet, and I love the way, Colleen, I love the way that this turned out, and I feel like even if you don't use the beads like I use them, I'm going to use some flower beads. If you don't like the flower beads, this is still going to inspire you to use different kinds of beads in this type of project. I think you guys are going to like it, and it's easy. Like, we're going to do a square knot. It doesn't get easier than a square knot, but we're going to zhuzh it up a little bit, which I love. Ramona says she'll pretend it's her hearing. That works for me. Oh man, I'm so sorry, you guys. If I could reach the other microphone without causing an absolute avalanche, I would just grab it, but I can't. So, okay, so for today's project, you're going to need minimum things. Okay, you're going to need the Beadalon Tying Station, and my good friend Joan is here, you guys. She is going to be dropping links for you to go to these products. You can go to directly to the tying station. You can go directly to the beads, and you can go directly to the button. These are all three going to be on the Jessie James Beads website, and the links that she is going to post are my affiliate links. You do not have to use those if you do not want to, okay? Those are always just optional. I'm not trying to like persuade you into using those, but when you do use my affiliate link, I do get a small commission off of whatever sales there are made through those links, and that is what I buy expensive microphones that buzz with. Oh man, just one of those days. So just know that any of the commission that I make, you guys, I put back into these videos to get supplies and to get things like lights and microphones. I'm gonna go with a cheaper microphone, I think. So yeah, it's always helpful, but it's not necessary, and I don't ever want you to think that I'm like pushing that on you, because I am so not that kind of person, okay? If anything, all it's gonna do is it's gonna take you straight to the product so that you can see the product and you can see how much the product costs, and maybe you add it to your wish list, maybe not, right? So that's that. You're going to need the tying station. You're going to need some really pretty beads. I'm using the Avacado and Everything bead mix. This is from, excuse me, this is from Jessie James Beads Market Fresh Minis. It's absolutely gorgeous. I believe Nile used this exact same bead mix earlier. And it's green and brown. I'll show it to you up close. I'm also using a TierraCast button that is available on the site as well. TierraCast was part of the Shop Small with Jessie James Beads for the week. But any shank style button is going to do. Just make sure it's a shank, because the leather that I'm using for this project, which it may not be for you, but the leather that I'm using is a little bit thick, so it won't go through like a 2-hole or a 4-hole button. It's got to be a shank for this. I've got a beading all on hand. I didn't put this in the list of things that you need for this project. However, I do find that it is very, very helpful for tying the knots, or not necessarily tying the knots, but for pulling the cord down. And you'll see exactly where I use this. It does make a difference. And then the only other thing you're going to need is like some scissors or a cutter tool and some cord. I'm using some S-Lon. I'm using this really pretty green. I do not know the diameter on this. I got this in just like a big bulk pack on Amazon. I can try to find the exact pack and post a link for that later if you want. I use S-Lon for a lot of things. I really like it for knotting. The only problem with the S-Lon in this project, it does have its drawbacks. So the pros for the S-Lon or the B-Lon, whichever one you want to use, is that it is nice and thin, so it goes through all of the beads that I'm using, even the small ones, with no problems. Some of the teeny tiny beads that I'm going to use, it's a little tricky, but it does fit. And it's really, really pretty. I love that it comes in the colors. The drawback to this is that because this is nylon cording, it is slippery, and so the knots tend to want to slip on you. I feel like if you were using hemp or wax coated cord, you would probably not have that problem. The only issue that you would have there is trying to find one that is thin enough to go through some of the smallest beads. So you kind of have to take the good with the bad and kind of pick and choose as far as you know, what you're willing to put up with and what is a deal breaker for you, right? Okay, so the measurements for this, I've got 2 pieces of the S-Lon. One is in green, and well, they're both in green, but one is about 60 inches long. I know that seems like a lot, but you want to have plenty of this. Do you ever wax your cords? I don't, and the only reason that I don't wax my cords, and that would be perfect for this, is because I don't have any. I need to grab some beeswax in a bad way, not just for my cording, but for some other things. So yeah, that's on my short list. So if you wanted to wax your S-Lon or your B-Lon, you absolutely could do that, and that is going to help make a huge, huge difference. So thank you for mentioning that for sure. Okay, so you need about 60 inches of this. You're going to fold this in half. That's only going to give you 2 pieces that are about 30 inches a piece. And then you're going to need a second piece that really needs to be about 30 inches. If you wanted to do 2 60-inch pieces and then just cut off one of the 30-inch strands, you could do that if you wanted to and just save that extra 30-inch strand for something else. But I'm going to just tie mine in. There's a couple of different ways to do this, but I'm going to show you the easiest way for me, at least. Okay, So let's get down onto the mat here. Let's take a look, just a quick look-see at the beads, and then 0.5 millimeter. I think it is 0.5 millimeter. It actually might be a hair smaller than 0.5 millimeter, Marianne. I'm not sure. It's pretty thin, but 0.5 millimeter would work perfectly. So yeah. All right, let's get down, take a quick look at the beads, and then let's get started with this project. Guys, this one, it's not a very long and drawn out process, but it is going to take a little bit of time to do all of the knots. So if you've got somewhere else you got to go, I completely understand. I don't want to take up your whole day. All right, let's get to it. So now this is another conundrum, is all of these cords. Let me unplug some of these things because I can't handle all of the cords that are going on here. Actually, guys, here, I'm going to put the beads right here in front of you for just a second. Now that I'm standing up, I can grab the other microphone. Which, nope, that's not it. Just kidding. I thought I was going to be able to solve this problem really quickly, but it looks like I'm not going to be able to. I know you guys hear my wind chimes. I'm sorry. I don't even know what... Okay. Fiddlesticks. All right, we're just going to have to deal with it, you guys, because I thought that microphone was right here, and it's not. Okay, so... The buzzing just stopped. That's weird. I unplugged the iPad. The buzz is gone. All right. Well, strange things around here, you guys. Okay, so we'll just stay unplugged. So this is the avocado on everything, and it's actually everything, which is really cute, but I can't say that. Avocado on everything. It's like E''rethink. You get it. You get it. But it's just a really beautiful mix of the greens and browns. And I really love this green color. It is, well, it's not just a singular green color, but like this kind of shade of green, this kind of lime-ish green is just really, really pretty to me. And I love the brown added to this. I think it's just a really beautiful mix. And there are some tiny beads in here. These little drop beads, we're actually going to use some of those in our design, and some even little tiny kind of coffee colored rondelles. I love those too. So we're going to use a lot of beads from this in our project. And then in addition to that, I have some of these acrylic flower beads, and I have these in a lot of different colors. The only ones, unfortunately, that I had that would match this mix are green. And to be completely honest with you, I wish that I had a color other than green to go along with this. I know that it works, but I feel like kind of the green is a little on the overpowering side. I wish that I had had a different color, but just some acrylic flowers. And then I have some even smaller little acrylic flower cups that are going to sit in the middle of each one of these. And I did have these in different colors. So you can use just any kind of bead that you want to. I'm going to use these little flowers. You can use check glass flowers. They're kind of the same thing. I've got some of those too. I probably should have grabbed those. But the check glass flowers will work. Anything that sits this direction is going to work. And I feel like a lot of times people don't really know what to do with this kind of bead because it's drilled through the middle, but it's shallow. So it doesn't really... You know, if you hang it sideways, it can be uncomfortable because all of the little petals have a point to them. So sometimes people get tripped up with these. I thought this was a great way to use these. So hopefully that will inspire you. You don't need a lot of them, okay? You don't need a lot of them. And if you don't want to use flowers, you can use anything for this, really. All right, so I'm going to set these to the side for just a second, and we're going to talk about the leather. So as far as the leather goes, I cut myself about 14 inches of this, and I'm going to fold it in half. And then we're going to attach it to the tying station. This is, I believe this is 2mm leather. Really any kind, any millimeter is going to work for this project. Just know that if you go all the way down to a 0.5mm, you are going to have to be really, really careful with it because it will break. Leather is sensitive. Erica says, where do you get those flower beads? So the flower beads that I have actually, I got these on Etsy probably 10 years ago. So I don't have a link for this exact flower, but I know that you can shop for acrylic flower, just flower beads in general, or lucite. You can get these in lucite too. The lucite ones are a little bit more expensive than the acrylic, but pretty much the same thing. I mean, you know, I don't know. I'm sure that there's like a technical reason, but faux suede will work for this. The faux suede, Colleen, the only problem with the faux suede is that it's not round, it's flat. So you probably want to really pay attention to it laying side by side, right? Sherry says Fire Mountain beads. Yeah, that's Fire Mountain beads. You can get everything from Fire Mountain. Okay, so I'm going to tie this in an overhanded knot. Now again, I just folded it in half, okay? And I'm going to tie it in an overhanded knot. And I want to leave a loop that is big enough to clear my button. So I'm not going to pull the knot down all the way just yet, because I want to be sure that the loop that I create is going to be big enough to go over my button, right? And you can see I still haven't pulled that loop all the way just yet for more than one reason. One, I want to check for the button. Number two, I want to take my shorter piece of S-Lon or whatever cord it is that you're using. I'm going to stick that in here into the knot where I haven't pulled the knot down yet. And I want to place it in between those two cords. Do you see where I've placed it? So it's running between the cords. Okay, so I don't want it over here to the side. I want it right in the middle. And I'm going to just kind of hold it in place and then snug down my knot. Double check. Yes, my button still fits. Okay, now I've got a knot and I have knotted in my piece of S-Lon, and that's the short piece. If you want to just tie this around both cords, you can, okay? There's no reason that you can't. Like I said, there's a lot of different ways to add this short piece of S-Lon. I just like to have it this way, and right here at the top, where that cord is, I'm actually going to take a little tiny bit of hypo cement, and I use the one that has the precision tip, and I'm just going to put like the very tiniest little drop right there. Okay, that's really going to dry as we are working, and then at the end I can snip this off, and I can snip really, really close there, and you'll never even see it. Okay, so our leather and our short piece of S-Lon is ready to go. Now I'm going to bring in, let me move all this other stuff out of the way. I'm going to bring in the tying station, okay? My favorite, one of my favorites, this is probably number 2 on my list of favorite Beadalon tools ever. And you guys, I've used the tying station for a lot of projects and everybody seems to really love it. Just because it is so handy for so many different things. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with a tying station, this is an acrylic tool that has, let me just show you as I'm putting our bracelet on here. So it's got 2 places here. This is just a screw that's coming up where we can take whatever we're working on and loop it around, right? There's an acrylic plate that goes over the top of that to hold it down, a washer, and then a wing nut. And you tighten down the wing nut, and that's going to hold your thread, your string, your cord, whatever you're working on, or your wire, right? It's going to hold it in place here at the top. You've got your handy measuring tool here on the side, and then you also have the same down here on the bottom, which is another acrylic plate where you can secure the bottom of your work. Now, all I'm going to secure is the bottom of the leather. I'm going to leave that short piece of S-Lon loose, okay, because we're going to have to use it for some things. So I'm going to leave it loose, but I am going to tighten down here this end. So now I've got all of my work area here, and I can get my fingers underneath it and I can measure as I go. So really, really love this. Yeah. So let's see, missed the leather cord. I thought her tying cord is 60. Yeah, so I know the eyeball came off. I meant to take the ring off too. I gotta glue that back. So the leather cord was 14 inches and we tied it in a knot in half, okay? Then the short cord in the center of our S-Lon, because we've got two pieces of S-Lon, the short cord that I tied in with the leather is 30 inches. And then we have a longer piece that is 60 inches. Okay, we are about to use it. Okay, so now we're ready. I'm going to lift you guys up just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to take my 60-inch piece of my S-Lon. I'm going to find the ends, come down and find the middle, right? There's the middle. And I want to bring it underneath the leather and our short piece of S-Lon, okay? And then just bring it out on either side. Now, we're just going to tie a square knot, and the first square knot is always kind of weird because it's not already attached yet. But I'm going to go through the square knot a couple of times for those of you who are new or have never done a square knot before. So you'll get to see it. So if the first one is kind of weird, that's okay. Just hang around. You'll see it again. Okay. So for the square knot, I'm going to take the right hand piece of my S-Lon and I'm going to make a P shape, and the P shape is going to come across all three of our center cords here. Don't forget, we've got that piece of S-Lon in there too, okay? So when I say three, that's what I'm talking about. The two pieces of leather and that short piece of S-Lon. P shape going over the top here, okay? Now, my left-handed cord, my left-handed strand, without pulling my P loose, okay? I want that to go over the top of the right hand cord that is now coming out this direction. Okay, so this is now on the left here. This one's going over the top of that, and then it's going to go behind everything and up through that P shape that we made over here on the right handed side. So again, the first knot's always kind of tricky and messy. Whoops. Okay, and then I'm going to pull. And when you pull, then you want to slide it up right up next to the leather knot that you have there, okay? Now, for those of you who don't know square knots happen in 2 steps. So that was step 1, where we did our P on the right. Now we're going to do our P on the left, and that is going to be step 2, and after that we'll have a complete knot. So same thing, we're just doing a mirror image. I'm taking the left-handed cord, making a P shape over here on this side. The cord is running across the top of all of these center cords, okay? Now I'm going to take this right-handed cord. It has to be going over the top of this cord, right? And then it needs to go underneath and up through the P shape that we made on the left-handed side, okay? And then you want to pull. That is a complete square knot. You have to do it on the right and on the left to get a complete knot. Let me move you down just a little bit. Now that we're attached, we can get a little bit closer here. Okay. And you want to pull tight. You don't want to, you don't want to like strong arm it, but you definitely want to pull pretty tight. Joan says, will faux suede work for this? It will, but just like I mentioned before, the round really sits nicely side by side, whereas the faux suede, since it's flat, you really have to pay attention that the two pieces are laying side by side and not overlapping each other, okay? You want them to sit side by side because you want this center. This center between the two pieces is really important for this extra piece of S-Lon that we have here. All right, so we're going to do, we did 1 square knot. We're going to do 7 more. So to start our bracelet, we're doing 8 full square knots, okay? So you're going to get to see that square knot at least 7 more times, okay? So over on the right with our P shape, the cord is running across the top of our center cords, okay? I'm going to pick up that left cord. It's going across the top of that cord and then underneath everything, and up through the P shape, and then pull. That's step 1. Step 2, same thing, just starting on the left. Left-handed P shape, the right-handed cord over the top of that one, and then underneath everything and up through. Okay, and pull. So now we have 2. Sorry, just kind of rolling back to look at the looking at the questions, making sure I didn't miss anything, you guys. Okay, so there's 2. We're going to keep going. Okay, so right-handed side, we've got our P shape over here on the right-handed side. It's going across the center cords out this direction. Left-handed cord, picking that up, making sure that it is going across the top of this one, underneath everything, and then if I can grab hold of it, up through. Okay, and pull. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2, same thing, opposite side. Okay, over and under and up and pull. Okay, now I want to point out that you can count. I always count on the right, and the way that you count is the little bump. That's going to tell you how many knots you've got. So we've got 1 bump, 2, 3. That means we have 3 complete knots. Okay, so we've got 3. We need 5 more. Okay, now I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit because we do have a lot to cover. So if you are still having trouble with the square knots, don't worry, the entire bracelet is made out of them. Just a little kind of variation with what we're going to do when we start adding beads. Okay, so right side and then the left side. Okay, that's 4. And you'll notice I'm just kind of ignoring that piece of S-Lon that is running through the middle here. So somebody asked, why are there holes at the top of the tying station? So I don't know the exact reason, but what I have always assumed is that this was for macrame where you've got 5, you can work with up to 5 strands, right? So you, instead of attaching to the screw with the wing nut, you can tie on to each one of the holes. There's a hole underneath this guy. And so you can tie on 5 cords, and then you can tie off 5 cords down here on the bottom as well. That's just my assumption. I do not know. In fact, Meredith and I had a conversation about that not too long ago, and we're really not sure. Which is funny because, you know, she's she's right over there at Beadalon, and even she didn't have an answer for that. So that's just my guess. I do know, however, that you can use these 5 holes to set your tying station up like a loom if you wanted to. It's going to have really large spaces, but you could do 5 warps and use those holes. So whatever you want them to be is the answer to your question. However you feel like you need to use them, whatever works for you. Okay, so we're just going to keep going here. And again, just ignore that centerpiece of S-Lon. We're just acting like it's not even there. You do want to be careful that you don't get it mixed up as you are creating your knots, though. You don't want to get it kind of mixed in with these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need to do 2 more. You are so welcome. That's what I'm here for. Okay, there's 7. And we'll do 1 more. All right, so there we go. We've got 8 of our square knots with nothing on them. Okay, now we're ready to start kind of adding some things, and we're going to start small. We're going to start with smaller beads, and we're going to add our beads. Normally we add our beads to our center cord and we slide them up and we knot around them. For this project, we're actually going to add our beads to our outer 2 cords, and we are going to tie those in. Melanie says, Katie Hacker knows, didn't she invent it? She did not invent this one, actually. And I'm not sure if she knows or not, but we certainly could ask. I know that Meredith had a big hand in this one, but this is, as far as I know, this is not a Katie Hacker tool. Robin says, just got her tying station. Now to use it. Yeah. I love my tying station. I use it for all kinds of things. Okay, so the first beads that we're going to use are these tiny little rondelles. These are the coffee colored ones that are in that avocado mix. Okay, we're going to take our bead and we're just going to thread 1 each onto either side. So I'm going to thread 1 onto the right side, drop it down, and then I'm going to thread 1 just like it on the left side and drop it down. Okay, now the beads are going to sit out to the side of your cord, your leather cord here, and that's exactly what we want. Now we just want to proceed as normal by tying our square knot first on the right and then on the left, as if there were not any beads, right? We're just going to pretend like those beads don't even exist. So the right-handed side, P shape, and then pull, and you do kind of have to push your beads into place. Okay, and then we're going to do the left-handed side. Now, remember when I was talking about how the S-Lon is kind of slippery? This is where you really notice it, because that first step of the knot wants to come undone. It does not want to be tight. So definitely wax your cord if you can, or if you're using something different, you may not have that problem, but it does want to slip and be loose. Okay, so just be mindful of that. So that was the right side. Now we're going to do the left side to kind of lock everything into place. And you can see as I'm working, it loosens it up even more. So what I like to do is I start to pull that second knot up, and sorry, I didn't realize that was taking up so much room in the shot. So I pull and then try to pull quickly, but not, you know, I mean, you can only go so fast. Okay. So now I've locked those beads in place. They're out here on the outer end. Won't it help to stiffen the ends of the cord so it doesn't come undone? Yeah, if you put some beeswax on it, or if you use wax linen cord or wax cotton cord, it definitely will help. It's just this S-Lon is just really slippery. So that's the only drawback. It's so pretty that I didn't mind it, but I really do kind of struggle with it through this entire design, and particularly as we get going with some larger beads, it does tend to be a little tricky. So just keep that in mind if you decide to use the S-Lon or the B-Lon for this. Excuse me. Okay, so let's see. I believe I did 2. Yeah. Okay, so I've got another set of those cute little rondelles. I'm going to do a rondelle on the right and a rondelle on the left again. Melanie says, wow, this is so cool already. I know. Well, here's the thing. Okay. So I love the way that this looks, even without the flowers in the middle. I love the way that the beads look when they're knotted on the outside of your center cord. So even if you decided not to do all this middle stuff that we're going to do here in a little bit, it's still going to look really awesome. And you can use whatever kind of beads you want. All right, so again, I'm just going to proceed as normal. So we are making our right-handed P shape here, and then the left, and pull. Make those beads go where you want them to go. Okay, pull that up. And now we're going to do the left-handed side. Guys, at the end of this, remind me to order some beeswax. Because I really do need it I need it for some other things. I need it for my wooden looms as well. Hi, Dawn. How are ya? All right, so those 2 beads are locked in place. Now we're going to go up a step in the beads as far as the size. Again, from that avocado on everything mix. So I'm just going up to another, I believe these are 5 millimeters. Okay, so same thing. I'm just going to drop that one down, and I'm going to drop down the other one. I'm good. I'm good. I feel like I haven't chatted with you in a while. Okay, same thing. So we're just going to keep on going. Just keep on with the square knots, just like we have been doing. Okay. So there was the right. Now we're going to do the left. And you can see it's starting to slip and come undone. So as I pull this one up, I'm also going to kind of tighten this one up a little bit as I go. Okay. So that's what we've got so far. Now, give me just a second. I want to double check the picture here because I want to be sure that I don't miss any of the beads. Okay, so the next beads, the next beads are another rondelle bead in a green. Okay, now this is where me too, Wanda. This is where we're going to change things up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to pull down the 2 rondelles on either side. Okay, so that step is just the same as what we've been doing. So just drop down one of the rondelles on the left and drop down a rondelle on the right. Okay, so there's that. All right, now it's time to utilize this piece of S-Lon that is here in the middle that has kind of gotten tucked away. So we're going to take our piece of S-Lon and we're going to leave these out here to the side for a few minutes, okay? Because we need to add beads to this. So we are going to bring in our flowers, and I'm going to use one of these tiny little drops as the center of my flower. So here's what we're going to do, okay? This is the center short cord. I'm going to thread on the larger flower, okay? I'm going to thread on the smaller flower. And now I'm going to thread on the little drop bead. This one is always a little bit trickier to thread onto the S-Lon. It will fit as long as your S-Lon hasn't started to fray at the end. Okay, so thread that guy on. Now, take the end of your S-Lon and turn around, go back through the purple, or back through the little cup bead that you've got there, right? And then go back through the larger flower. Okay, so now your cord is coming back out, right? But this little drop bead is what's going to hold everything in place. It's going to keep you from pulling. Well, if I could show it to you. It's going to keep everything from sliding out. This is actually serving as not just the center, but it's also the stopper here. Okay. Now we want to pull everything down. And so I hold the drop bead in my hand and pull the cord down close to the surface of the tying station, okay? But there's still a little bit of room. See the loop there where I'm holding on? That's where the beading awl comes into place. This is the perfect place to use this. So stick the end of your beading awl or a toothpick or the tip of a pin or whatever you've got. A safety pin will do. Okay, stick that through there and then continue to pull the S-Lon. Well, and you can pull it down even tighter so that it is really sitting on the surface of that leather. And then as you're kind of pulling, and see how I've got my finger over here, I'm pulling. See the S-Lon coming out through here? I'm still kind of pulling, and that's going to snug everything down onto the surface of these 2 pieces of leather in the center. Okay, take that piece of S-Lon, put it right back in the center where it belongs. Okay, and now we're just going to ignore it. It's gone. It secured our beads in the center. Now we're ready to pop our beads down up against the edges and square knot just like before. So right-handed side. Those beads are going to sit behind that flower. Okay, you're still going to see them. They're kind of peeking out on the edges, and you'll see them when you're wearing the bracelet, right? So still pick a pretty bead. Don't feel like just because you don't see them from the top down that they can be like ugly beads from your stash. You still want a pretty bead there because you will get to see it some. And then left-handed cord. And just doing the same thing. Whoops. Okay, pulling it down. If that knot is a little loose, I pull everything nice and tight. Okay, straighten out that center piece of S-Lon. And now your flower is nice and secure. And you can see it's not wibbly wobbly. Like that's the whole bracelet moving. This guy is not, he is really sitting right on the surface of those two pieces of leather. Okay, he's not going anywhere. So if he's still kind of wobbling back and forth, you didn't get this center piece of S-Lon pulled down tight enough. Okay, so you might want to undo your knot and try again, and really use the beading awl or the tip of something. That's really going to help you to pull that down nice and tight on that surface. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next bead. And for the next beads, we're going to use these kind of coppery colored beads. These are going to go next. We're not going to do anything in the center. We're going to kind of alternate from now through the rest of the bracelet until we get back down to the smaller beads again. So I'm going to drop down a bead on the left, and I'm going to drop down a bead on the right. Okay. Right-handed side, P shape. Left hand is going back behind and up through. Pull those beads into place. Okay, and now we're doing the left-handed side, P shape. Okay, and again, kind of pull everything all at once here, just to try to keep everything nice and tight. You do have to kind of wiggle with it a little bit, and that's fine. Okay, now we're going to add 2 rondelles, and we're going to do flowers in the center again, so you'll be able to see that. We're going to add 5 flowers total to this bracelet. So if you were not sure about it the first time, you'll get to see it a couple more times. Okay, so dropping down the 2 rondelles, just going to kind of move those cords out of the way. And I'm picking up this center piece of S-Lon. Okay, I'm going to thread on my flower bead. I'm going to thread on the little cup flower for the center. And you can skip the cup flower. You don't have to do that one, right? You do have to have a center bead though. In order to pull everything down and to keep everything in place, you've got to have this tiny little bead in the middle. And it can be anything as long as your S-Lon will fit through it. So if you wanted to use like a size 6 or a size 8 seed bead here in the center, or a little bicone or a tiny little rondelle, you could. Just be patient with it because it does have a smaller hole, and it does take it a second, okay? So I've thread on all 3 beads. And now I'm going to take my cord and I'm going to turn around. Whoops. Okay. So I'm taking the tail end of that cord and I'm going to go back through the little cup and then back through the larger flower. Okay. Now I'm going to hold that little tiny bead in my hand and start to pull, pull everything down. Okay. Pull it down to the surface, and there's still a little bit of room there. There's a little loop. Whoops. I'm going to take my beading awl and sit it in there so I can really pull. And I just use it because my fingers are just too big, right? I can't get nice and tight otherwise. Okay, and that still may be a little loose for me, so if it's still a little wibbly and wobbly in the book of Sarah-isms, you can always put the beading awl back in there and pull some more, right? until you get it nice and secure. Okay. Now taking the S-Lon, putting it back in the center, and we are going to drop the rondelles. Those will go back behind, and we're going to proceed with our square knot. So the right-handed side and pull, don't get your flower caught. Okay. And then the left-handed side. Okay, tighten everything up. Whoops. The bigger the beads are with this slippery S-Lon, the harder it is to get that knot nice and tight. It really just wants to slide out and give you trouble. Okay. All right. So there's 2. Now we're going to add 2 of these larger rondelles, and no flower in the center for these. So we're just going to put on the right, drop it down, and on the left and drop it down. Okay. And again, proceed with your square knot. So right side first. Uh-oh, my S-Lon's wanting to wiggle out of place. Go back where you belong there, buddy. Really want to try to keep that S-Lon in the center of those 2 pieces of leather. It does kind of want to sneak around on you, but okay. And now the left side. Okay, and again, everything's slippery for me because of this cord, so really kind of go slow until I get right up to there. And then pull everything nice and tight. Okay. Now we're ready to add another bead set. This time I'm going to go smaller. This is our center of our bracelet. So I'm going a little bit smaller with these yellows. Fabu muchly. You guys are so funny. Use that in a sentence, Kathleen. All right, dropping down the rondelle. Well, it's not really, it is a rondelle. It's just kind of a little bit chunkier rondelle. A little chunky monkey rondelle on either side. Okay, now we're going to pull that center piece of S-Lon out. Okay, just kind of keep those other cords out of the way. Okay, and now we're going with our flowers again. So on the center piece, threading on the larger flower, our smaller flower, and then one of our little drop beads. Got to be patient with these little guys. Okay. All right, now I'm going to take my cord and turn back around. So I'm going to go back through the smaller one, back through the larger one. Okay, pull that out. And now I'm going to hold on to the drop and pull everything down. Oh, hey, Carrie Lee. Yeah, you'll have to go back and watch the beginning because this is a fun one. I think this is a really cool bracelet project. And I can't wait to see what you guys do with it because there's really so many different things you can add in the center. Okay, so I still have a little bit of a loop here. So I'm going to come in with my beading awl, put it right in the loop, pull more on that S-Lon as much as I can. Okay, pull that down nice and snug. Still a little loosey-goosey, so I'm going to put it right back in there. So I'm really particular. I don't want my flower beads to flop around. I want those to be nice and secure. So I try to get those as tight as I can, even if that means I've got to mess with it a couple of times. Really kind of push with your fingers, that helps. Okay. Get that one nice and secure. Take that center piece of S-Lon right into the center again, and then Put those 2 rondelles behind the flower and proceed with your knot. So right-handed side first. Okay. And then the left side. I am kind of a perfectionist, which, you know, it's not always a good thing. It really kind of depends on the situation. But yeah, I'm very particular with jewelry. I try not to be. That's why I struggle with things like, yes, you are the boss of the thread, Mira. It makes it difficult when you are a perfectionist, because it's really hard to let go and do things like bead soup and messy wraps. Those things can be very daunting to me because I have a hard time letting go. I'm better now than I was before. I'll say that. I've really gotten a better grasp of it, but it can be challenging. It can be a real challenge. Loosey goosey and wibbly wobbly. Oh, Elizabeth says, I miss how I got rid of the buzz. I unplugged the iPad. So the iPad was charging and I just unplugged it from the charger. So problem solved. The only issue that I have now is that the cord for the microphone is a little short. So I'm gonna have to look in the box that it came in. I believe that there is an extension for it. So I'm like sitting right up against the iPad. I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but I kind of feel like I'm eating the iPad. That's how close my face is to it. All right, so this time we're not gonna add any more flower, or we're not gonna add flowers this time around. So just green beads again. Okay, now we are working on the other side. So this flower, this number 3 flower, marks the center. So now we are working our way down the other side of the bracelet. So we've got 2 more flowers to add. And what a mess have I got here? What is happening? Okay, let's try that again, shall we? So we're working our way down the other side of the bracelet. So we're getting pretty close to being done here. Okay. There are those 2 beads, and we did the right hand side knot. Now we're going to do the left-handed side of the knot. Okay. Okay, pull that one down. Good to go. Okay, now the darker rondelles again, and we're going to add a flower this time. So there's 1 for one side, 1 for the other. Okay, and now I'm going to pick up the center piece of S-Lon. Okay, we're going to thread on our large flower. We're going to thread on our small flower. And if you are getting to the point where your S-Lon is starting to fray at the end, you can always trim it off. That's really, it doesn't matter much with the larger beads, but with these little tiny beads, when it starts to fray at the end, it can really make you grumpy. All right. All right, so now I'm going to turn my thread around. I'm going to go back through, whoops, back through the small flower. Okay, and then back through the larger flower. And pull. Okay, grab that little drop bead, hold it in your hand. Make you grumpy. It does make you grumpy. Those little beads. I mean, really. All right, pull that down close as you can get it. Leave yourself a little bit of a loop there. Stick your beading all in. And then pull as tight as you can get it. Get it down nice and snug. Oh, too loose. Don't like it when it's too loose. I'm gonna stick it back in there. Pull some more. Better. Well, nope, not better. It's tricky. I'm telling you, it's tricky. But it's only tricky because, like you guys said, I'm kind of a perfectionist about it, and so I really want it to do what I want it to do. That's better. Okay, now dropping down the rondelles that are going to go behind it. Yeah, some glue on the ends definitely helps. And the beeswax, the wax doesn't have to be beeswax. Any kind of wax will do, because they make those you know, bee-free waxes. Though putting the wax on the ends will help too. All right, so drop the 2 rondelles down. Non-beeswax. Would that be a vegan wax? Is that vegan wax? I mean, it's kind of the bee's job, right? No bees were harmed, I don't guess. I don't know. I'm not really an expert. I should probably just stop talking about it. A professional perfectionist. I would agree with that sentiment, yes. Okay, tying that down. All right, and now we're going to add 2 beads without the flowers. So we've only got 1 more flower section to add. So God, you guys are laughing and not like giving me angry faces. Like, I'm always afraid, because you guys know, like, I try really hard to be professional and to not say things that are, I mean, but I do eat snacks from crazy places and, you know, almost throw up on camera. So, I mean, you guys know how to take me, but I always worry that like somebody's going to show up that I'm really going to offend with something ridiculous that I say. And I never mean any harm. So for anybody out there who is like, save the bees, I really did not, I wasn't trying to be, what's the word? I wasn't trying to be snarky or cute with my bee comment. Like, I really think that there is some bee-free wax. Vegan bee-free. You know. Oh, gosh. I know. I don't have to explain myself to you guys, but you never know, right? I'm glad, Donna. Quirky. Yeah, I'm definitely quirky, that's for sure. You can call it quirky. Somebody called me a knucklehead, and I was like, I really want to be offended by that, but I just can't because it's so true. And they meant it in such a loving way. So, I mean, you know, I'm just like, yeah, that's just kind of how I am. Oh, gosh. The funny part about it is that when people meet me in person, and I've had a lot of people say when they meet me in person, I'm much more quiet. I'm definitely more of an introvert in real life. And as quirky and goofy as I am, and I don't mean this to sound like I have a big head, because I absolutely don't, but I'm really smart. It may not come across, but I'm not. Don't mistake my quirkiness for density or dumbness, if you will. You know, I can kill you with kindness, but I can also, you know, I can go toe to toe with the best of them. Is all I'm going to say. So, just don't think that. Don't think that about me or anyone for that matter, actually, and I know you guys wouldn't, but just kindness and silliness are no indication of someone's intelligence. I can promise you that. You got to have balance. All right, so thank you, Donna. You never know. I mean, because some people are like, gosh, she's so goofy, she must be an idiot. And the truth is that I'm absolutely not. And I have quite a very serious side to me that you guys do not see. And so when I post things, you guys, I'm just, this is our last flower. I figure at this point, you know what I'm doing. But there's a really serious side to me that is the business savvy, you know, take charge part of me, that when I say things like give yourself grace, and I say that to you guys, but I really say that to myself on a regular basis, because outside of Facebook Live, and you can see it in the perfectionism that I strive for, and I get fussy with my beads and stuff. I tend to take myself way too seriously in a lot of things. And so the snack shenanigans and the give yourself grace, those are things not only for you guys, but for me as well. Just to remind myself that life doesn't have to be super serious, and, you know, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't always have to be perfect. And I really struggle with that. So you guys are actually on a journey with me, and I bet you didn't even know it. So there you go. There you go. All right. That was our last little section of flowers. So I'm going to pull our S-Lon down here. And that's not to say that I'm fake by any means. I hope that's not the way that you guys take it, because I am very much what you see is what you get with me. But I definitely do have a bit more serious, quieter, you know, introspective kind of side to myself outside of Facebook Live. And I think people are shocked by that when they meet me in person. All right. So pulling down these last beads here. Okay. All right, so that was our last flower. Now we've only got 3 more sets of beads to add. So we're coming back down to these small ones. Thank you, Donna. I appreciate that very, very much. I am goofy though on a regular basis. Like I was in the shower today and you know, the shower, I'm sure a lot of you guys are this way too. The shower is like my thinking spot. Like that's where I do a lot of my thinking and planning, and I do talk to myself out loud occasionally. And I don't know. My husband came in to get some deodorant, and he was like, "Who are you talking to?" And I didn't even realize. I was like having a conversation. I was thinking out loud, you know, I was thinking part of it and then kind of saying some of the things out loud. And he was like, "You are so weird." Like, yeah, I know. I can't help it. I am a little bit of a weirdo. Donna sings in the shower. Oh gosh. Well, I try not to do that because my daughter's room is right up next to my bathroom, and she has told me not to sing because she's got online school and she doesn't want her friends to hear me through the wall singing. So I try hard not to sing when I'm in the shower. It's hard though. Some days you just have a song in your soul, you know, and you just gotta belt it out. And I very frequently do that. And I'm not a very good singer, but I don't let it stop me. I'm not a very good dancer either, and I do that all the time too. So, I mean, you know. All right, these are our last beads. So this is the last little set here. Just getting it anchored on. Just like so. All right, now to finish this off, we're gonna do 8 more, because remember we did 8 square knots up here. We want it to be nice and balanced, so we are going to do 8 square knots to finish it off. Okay, and I'm just gonna kind of zip through these, you guys, because I realize we've been here a while already, and I really want you guys to be able to see how this is finished off. It's not hard. In fact, the finishing off part we've kind of done before, but for those of you who may be new, or those of you who have forgotten the last time we did a tying station bracelet, I want to be able to show you that. And you see where I've made it a point, you can really see down here, I've made a point to keep that S-Lon, that middle piece, I really have made sure to keep it in the middle because you can still see it. If you don't want to see it, you can take your beading awl and kind of tuck it to the back if you want, but you definitely don't want it to be sneaking out on either side, okay? That it becomes noticeable because it's a color. So I really want that S-Lon to stay in the center. And I want to show you the back of this too, because the back of this will show you what it looks like without the flowers added to it. And I know I said this before, but you don't have to add flowers in the middle. You can add whatever kind of bead you want to in the middle. So for instance, I actually started out when I was making this, I actually had these guys from the mix in the middle, laying in the center against this, you know, against the two pieces of leather. Anything is going to work in the center. I just thought it was a really cool opportunity to use up the flower beads. Because I know that there are some of you out there that have check glass ones that maybe came from JTV, or they may have even came from me because I had a ton of them. And I've kind of given them new homes over the years. So this is a good opportunity to use the flower beads. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got one more to go. Thank you. I think it's a really pretty bracelet too. And the cool part is that you could use any color of S-Lon, any color leather, any color of the beads. So you really could, I'm gonna do one more knot just for good measure. You really could create some really beautiful pieces with this. You know, the same technique is going to give you so many different looks depending on what parts of this you change. And I love projects that are like that. Okay, so we've got to the end here. And I'm going to take it off of the tying station. Okay. And just set the tying station to the side. Okay, so this is what we've got so far, and you can see how pretty that's going to look when you wear it. I love the 3-dimension to the flowers. I think that is absolutely gorgeous. It's just one of my very, very favorites. But I wanted to show you the back. So imagine that you didn't have the flowers. It's still a gorgeous bracelet. Like, I would totally wear that without the flowers. Just mixing up the beads looks really amazing too. So that's awesome, right? You've got 2 bracelets in one here, you know, as far as styles that you wanted to create. Now, since I have it turned over to the back, I'm going to take the 2 pieces that I've been knotting with, and I'm just going to tie an overhanded knot and tie that back here on the back. I'm going to pull it down nice and tight. I'm going to do another one. Okay. And pull it down nice and tight. And I'm going to add some more of the hypo cement to that, just on the knot, right around the knot. And I'm going to trim this off short, but not completely cut off until the hypo cement dries. So I'm going to cut it to about right here for now. So I'm leaving myself a tiny, tiny little bit. And then once that hypo cement dries, I'm going to cut it even shorter. But I want to let the glue dry first. So give it a good 15 minutes before you snip it all the way off. Okay. Now, as far as the S-Lon is concerned, this stuff down here on this end, it's not going anywhere. If you want and you feel like you need to, you obviously can come in and do a little drop of the hypo cement right at the end of the S-Lon. But honestly, it's been tied in and knotted the entire bracelet. It's really not going to slip out and go anywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and trim it off too. And again, I can cut it shorter after my glue dries. So now all I have is my 2 leather ends here. Could you use a surgeon's knot? Yes, you could. Any kind of knot you want to use that you're comfortable with is totally fine. And if you need the extra reassurance, then definitely use the hypo cement. But you know, just any knot, any good strong knot's going to work. So I'm just going to tie this into another overhanded knot, right, and pull that down. And I've actually caught some of my my ends in this. Let me pull that one out. Okay, pull that down nice and tight. Okay, and I'll trim those off here in just a little bit. Let that glue dry really, really good. And now I'm going to add my button. And the shank on my button is not big enough, I don't think, for both pieces of the leather. I haven't really tried. No. So I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to put it on one. I'm going to drop it down. Okay. And then I'm just going to flip it over here to the back and I'm going to tie another overhanded knot. And keep that knot nice and close if you can. Pull it really, really tight. And of course, with your leather knots as well, if you want to add hypo cement to those, you can just add it to the insides of the folds of the knot. And that'll keep that nice and secure. And then I like to trim mine off. I like to leave a little bit behind just because I like the way that it looks, but you can trim it close if you want to. And then down here, remember our piece of S-Lon that was sticking out that we added a little bit of glue to? That glue is nice and dry. And so I can come in and snip that off and it's gone. You barely even see it sticking out right there. And if you don't like that look, you can always, because see, it's just a tiny little dot of green, which nobody is ever going to see. But if that drives you crazy, you can always touch it with a little marker and make it brown, the same color as your leather. But that's it. That's all you got. There's, you know, you've got your button clasp on here, which is gorgeous, right? And you've got a really cool bracelet that is definitely like three-dimensional. You've got all the beauty of the beads you can still see. So like when you're looking at the bracelet from the side, you still see the gorgeousness from all of those beads. And, you know, the bigger the bead, the more flash and sparkle you're going to have to this. So don't skimp on the beads, even if you're going to put big things on the top. If you're not going to put big things on the top, let me open it back up again and we'll look at the back. So a lot of ways that I've seen this bracelet done is, you know, like I have here, you can alternate the beads with colors and sizes, or you can do the whole thing with little rondelles, or you can do the whole thing with one round bead, right? You can do the entire thing in one color, one shape, one size, or you can mix it up just like it is. And even without all the flowers, like, let's be honest, that's a gorgeous bracelet. Yeah. And if you're not going to add things to the center of it, if you don't want the flowers in the center, then you don't need that center piece of S-Lon at all. You just make this exactly the same way, but you leave out that center piece of S-Lon that we use to tie our flowers on with. So it takes out a whole step. All right, I'm gonna turn you guys around and we will part ways for the day. Actually, let me put it on so I can show it to you so I can see it too. You are so welcome, you guys. I'm so glad that you like this project. I thought it was beautiful. I cannot wait to see what you guys do with it, because you guys see color and texture and design so differently from each other and from me. It's really cool. Mira has a question. Mira, what was your question here? So let me show you the bracelet. Look how awesome. I love that. Love it. And I know it's not springtime, but I don't even care. Like, I'm going to rock my flowers no matter what. Flowers are always a good idea. I love that. Okay, let me roll back up here and see what Mira's question was. Let's see. How long is the actual beaded portion? Whoops. Whoa, I keep rolling the comments away. I'm trying to roll back and I keep moving you guys. Okay, so the actual beaded section, let me grab 11 here and I'll tell you. Get this off of here. Oh, well, now I can't get my bracelet off. Really? It's a struggle today. It's a struggle. Can I put the bracelet really, really close to the camera? I can. Give me just a second. I'm trying to get it off. Okay, so I got it off. Let me measure the actual beaded section. So the actual beaded section is 4.5 inches. So you've only got about, I'm sorry, Catherine. I've got 4.5 inches of the beadwork in the middle, right? And then as far as adjusting the length is concerned, I would adjust the length. I mean, unless you wanted to add more beads to it, you absolutely could. You could do another 2 with beads and then add some more of the square knots, but you very easily can adjust the length of this. I would just sit all of my beads out, lay all the beads out first, and then just see how much room is left for, you know, what you need for the rest of the length of the bracelet. I'm the only one with an 11-inch ruler. Yes, Maggie, it would be beautiful in poinsettia colors. Catherine, I'm so sorry. What were your questions, my dear? I hate it when I miss things. Myra. Oh, gosh. Well, I'm sorry. Myra. I like Mira too, though. Either one is beautiful. So I'm so sorry. I'm bad about that, you guys. I'm bad about names. I'm bad about pronouncing stuff. I'm terrible with numbers. So forgive me, please forgive me. Myra, Mira, either one are gorgeous, right? But I get it. Your name is Myra. I'm so sorry. My sincerest apologies. Let's see. Last month someone won, but I don't remember her name. Who won last month? Jennifer Gammon. Jennifer Gammon won. It's either Gammon or Gammons. She won an 11-inch ruler, so I'm not the only one. No problem. You had a 50-50 chance. Thank you. I appreciate that. You made me feel a little bit better. Oh, goodness. I just say Mira because really weird thing to tell you guys, but when I was younger, my sister and I, we had pen names where, you know, when we were being our alternate personalities, and mine was Miriam C. Merriweather and my sister's was Gloria Longbottom. And so when I would sign things Miri, and so when I see M-I, so my apologies, but yes. Apologies from Miriam C. Merriweather. Oh, yeah, it's Jennifer. Jennifer, she said 11 is getting used. Yay! Awesome. Okay, so Jane asked, will I be here at 4? So I will be over on the Jewel Loom group at 4 p.m. We are just going to do it's our Friday wrap up. We have been making rings, and so we are going to just kind of revisit how to finish up the rings on the loom. And so if you want to join us, come and do that for us. Do you have the finished skeleton necklace for screenshots? I have the finished in photograph form. I'll post it for you guys. Thank you, Donna. I appreciate that so much. I had something else to tell you guys. I just can't remember what it was. But if you want to come and join the Jewel Loom group, guys, we have a lot of fun over there. It's a lot of the same community, and we're just doing looming. So if it's something that you are interested in, or maybe you'd like to get interested in, come and hang out with us, because the projects are so much fun. And looming is one of those things that I find very, very therapeutic. It's very calming for me. And so when I get in a tizzy, when I get in one of my moods, being able to sit and loom back and forth, whether it's with the fibers or with beads, is really, you know, it's centering for me. So if it's something you've ever been interested in, come hang out with us. Kristen says you changed the time for the unboxing. So the unboxing was supposed to happen directly after this live, but Sarah has family things going on and she really wanted to be a part of the unboxing, so that has gotten moved until next week. So stay tuned for that. Just check the Secret Stash group for the time on that one. The event will change, and the times for that and the date will change on that one. So apologies for that. The baby name book said Myra was shrewish and vindictive. Mira was the root word of miracle, or Myra. Oh, I love that. Catherine says, what happened to the second half? So yesterday during the live, I lost internet connection, and I lost internet connection for most of the day. So I couldn't get back on. I couldn't Zoom. I couldn't do anything. I actually had to turn LTE on my phone to text everybody at Jessie James Beads to let them know, and to please post and let everybody know who was watching that I was not going to be able to be back on. I lost internet connection. My kids lost school connection. So yesterday was kind of a headache. But if you want to see the finished project, it should be over on the Jesse James Beads blog. But somebody mentioned, I think Marianne said that it's not on the blog anymore. I'll have to go and check and see. It should be there. Totally should be there. I can post pictures of it though for you, as we were right at the end of the project anyway. So the main part was just a skeleton, and he got completed happily. So all right, that is it for me, at least until 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. If you want to see me again, you can come over to the Jewel Loom group. We will be doing our follow-up Friday over there. And otherwise, you guys, you can see me next week. I'll be on Jesse James Beads Monday. What is the total length? The total length is, drum roll please. So the total length is 7.5 inches, which is what I was going for. But you can make adjustments if you need it to be longer. 7.5 is a teeny tiny bit big for me, but I always try with my measurements to stay right at 7.5, because that's kind of like the happy medium place for jewelry that you make for customers or loved ones, and you can always adjust. So my measurements are for 7.5 inches, but you definitely can add to it or take away. Yeah, for my tiny little twig wrists. All right, so that is it. I will see you guys on Monday. If not, you can catch me right here, same time, same place. Check out the links for the tying station, the beads for the button that we use. Those are all affiliate links. You don't have to use them, but you absolutely can if you want to. And in the group, I asked earlier today, and I meant to mention that. So real quick before everybody really signs off, because we've already lost quite a few people. But if you've not joined the Sarah Ellis Designs Community Facebook group, please do that. Please. Happy birthday, Jane. Oh my gosh. Happy birthday, my dear, dear friend. Sorry, jump right off as the subject. If you have not joined the Sarah Ellis Designs Community Facebook group, please do that. Come and hang out with us. We have giveaways. We are, I asked a picture about posting your workspace because I want some ideas for storage, and I know that other people have the same questions. I want you to post all of your beautiful jewelry designs, whether they're ones that you have learned from me or not. Makes no difference to me. I just love to see everybody's creativity and share it with everybody. So please come and hang out with us on the group if you've not. And what else was I going to say? Oh, if the group is growing. It's brand new, of course. It's growing. We have over 200 something members so far. If we can make it to 1,000, I know we can. But when we make it to 1,000, we're going to have a really big giveaway. I have not gotten all of the items together for the giveaway, but stay tuned for that. So if you want to be a part of that giveaway, invite some friends to come and join the group. When we make it to 1,000, we're going to have a big celebration. We might even do a Zoom. I don't know what we're going to do, but we are going to celebrate for sure. So, all right, that's it for me, you guys. I saw some grumpy faces go by, so I'm definitely going to stop talking unless you all get on with your day, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye, guys.